Every story is important, and every story needs to be heard by someone, whether an audience of 1 or 1 million. Our stories are valuable because we have no idea the ripple effect it can have on generations to come. So join me in listening to stories of how unlikely people became unexpectedly connected. Their stories reveal that we were never meant to face life alone. And in helping one another, we end up finding ourselves and our purpose. Welcome to Letters from the Chosen. Welcome to Letters from the Chosens. I am Naomi Major, your host, and today I have the honor and privilege of discussing my wonderful friend Isaac's story. Isaac, I've known for many, many years, and he has worked in environmental services with Virtual Rehab Center, and he has a great working relationship with his team there. But today we're not going to focus so much on that. We're going to talk about his adoption story and how he overcame the many challenges and obstacles in his path to get to his life here in the United States. So I'm so excited. Welcome, Isaac. And I just want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Yes, it's amazing. But before we get into your story, I have seen social media helps us that you had an incredible milestone recently. So do you want to share with us what that was?
Yes, absolutely. I graduated from Rowan University this year. Not
Yay.
this year, but last year, 2024, with a Bachelor of Study.
Hmm.
Um, my goal is to work as for special needs children. So right now I'm working on that and how I became um, to pick that kind of major is that I have I have some passion to helping these
Mm.
special needs children. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm at with that.
All right. Well, I first want to just congratulate you on that amazing accomplishment. And it's not easy, but you did it, and you did it where
Yeah.
many people don't start, or they start and they don't
Yes.
finish. And you had
Yes.
challenges to overcome even with that. Um,
Yes.
so, yeah, incredible job. And we'll get more into that as we get into your story.
Mm-hmm.
But congratulations
Yes.
again now, virtually from me.
Thank
So
you.
what I want to
I
ask
appreciate
is,
it.
yeah, what inspired you to desire to work with those with special needs?
Well, when I first arrived in United States,
Hmm.
1996, I think we're gonna get into that. I got my arm to get a surgery done on my left arm, um, which
Mm.
they couldn't save it, unfortunately. But by the grace of God, um, I got a good help from Shriners Hospital in Chicago, and so while I was there, I got to know the children in that place in Shriners Hospital. And so one day, after I got my when I was here, going back, sorry, you know, lingering. So when I first got here, my arm was so bad. So they couldn't save the left arm. So they have to amputate it. And I was about 15 years old. And they decided, you know what,
Mm.
we have to get rid of um, the hint. To get rid of the infection, we had to get rid of the left arm. So that's what they did. So they got rid of the left arm. So when I woke up, um, it was so much pain. So we get into why I chose this place. I chose where the special needs. So anyway, so when I woke up, I had this problem with my with the pain and everything. But with so much people were praying for me and everything else, I was able to overcome the depression, and because I had my arm for the longest time,
Mhm.
since I was born. So anyway, um, so while I was in the hospital, I got to meet so many children um, in the hospital, Shriners Hospital. So one day we were playing a basketball game, and even though we can walk, we all have to sit down in a wheelchair. And as I sat in a wheelchair playing basketball with these children, I noticed everybody was happy. All of them were happy. So I put myself, I look at them, and it's like, wow, look at them. They're in a wheelchair. They're probably never gonna get up again, but they're happy. So I put my situation in perspective, knowing that if they can do it, if they can do it with the happiness in their faces, so do I. So from that day on, even though they were not special need for that day on, but they were mixed. So for that day on, I say, whatever, when I go to school, when I graduate from school, whatever that is, that point I didn't know when I was going to go to school or not. So when I graduated, I said, this is what I want to do, is to help the special need children, um, to bring them also hope, because some of them can also get depression and things like that. And so that's where I'm at with that. I'm still working on that. So I hope it's not that long.
Okay. No, no.
Yeah.
That was really, really good. So your motivation for wanting to help those with any type of physical needs comes from your experience of losing your arm
Yes.
when you said you were 15?
Yes.
When you were
Yes.
15, and then um, being at Shriners Hospital and being around the other children who were also had their own physical challenges to overcome.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. That's amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that. But I think just for everybody else listening, we've got to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you were telling us about having to have your arm amputated at the age of 15. Can you take us back to why you had to have your arm amputated and then how you got here to United States?
Absolutely. I'm glad to do so. So I was born in Ghana, West Africa, in a small village with as everybody knows, that part of the world is poor. So I was born into a poor environment. So where I'm from, we didn't have any running water or enough food to eat. Um, so I was born into two brothers. I was the oldest of the two. So there was a lot of problems in that village. There was a lot of poor conditions, diseases. I mean, everybody knows that. Everybody who studied that part of the world knows that. So, and my story goes far that that far. So, when I got into a situation where there was no running water, like I said. So we have to walk like 30 miles every morning, my brothers and I, to go get the water, and um, to bring it back to fill the well. And so the water was not, clean. So
Okay.
we have to drink the water that we had, because we have no choice. So we drink the dirty water, or you get thirsty. So to make that long story short, to bring the audience back, I was a so eventually I got sick. Um, we didn't know what it was that point, that time. So one day, going back, one day I came home from you know um, I came home from playing with my brothers, and my dad noticed that something was not right, and he saw that my left arm was swelling, literally swelling. And he's like, wait a minute, were you bit for, you know how parents are, were you bit by
Yeah.
something?
Yeah,
were
that
you
concerned parent.
yes, it can concern parents face. And so my dad, because I was the oldest, he was so nervous, and so he decided to take me to a witch doctor where they were able to give me some medicine, and it didn't help. It got worse. And they decided, okay, you know what? My dad decided. So everything got worse within 3 days. Everything got worse. I was swelling up, my face and everything. So
Wow.
um,
Can I just
my
ask?
brother, yeah, mhm.
So, can I ask how old were you when that happened?
Good question. I was, if I can remember correctly, I think I was 10 years old. 10 years old. That part of where you pretty much were older. If you're 10 years old, you're like, you can do things like adult things. So I wasn't like I can. So I was about 10 years old, if I can remember correctly. It's not, I don't really remember that far. But all I can remember is what happened to me. So, mhm. So anyway, to go back to what I was saying, so one day my dad, the whole house smelled because the wounds are open with flies and everything, and the whole house smelled. And my dad decided, you know what, you can stay in here. You gotta go. We gotta put you outside, during the day, and we can bring
Mm,
you not to inside. So my dad did that. And so all morning, every day I was go outside, they put me outside, and there was a lot of flies. So
mm,
everybody kept telling my dad, you got to take him to the hospital or he would die. So my dad decided, and this is a miracle within itself. There was no cars coming to where we were. Cars were not. It was a shortage of cars. So my dad decided, so one day all of a sudden there was a car, and my dad picked me up, ran to the car, and said to the driver, "Please take my son to the hospital, or he would
mm.
die." And the driver said, "Do you have money?" And my dad gave him all the money that he had. So they took me to the, Kumasi, Kumasi. They took me to
Yes,
Kumasi,
yes.
and yes, so Kumasi, national, I think in international studies, it's like a teaching hospital. So when I get to the teaching hospital, my dad, they immediately asked for money. And in the country, there's no insurance. You know how, yeah.
Yep.
So there was no insurance. So they asked money up front. So my dad didn't have money up front. So he begged the hospital to just keep me for maybe a month, and he will bring the money. He will go and go and bring the money. So they kept me there. And remember, I told you there's no money. There's no. We were born into a poor family. So my dad's like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'll bring the money. So keep him here. And that day
Mm,
on, my dad never returned. He left, and he never
mm.
returned. So he left me in the hospital. And that point, I was very. The next day, I kept hoping that he will return. And so a couple years later, this is prior to, me suffering through everything. But by the grace of God, this is where I got into where I am. So by the grace of God, He sent me two angels, two guardian angels. One was Auntie Mary, a nurse in the hospital, and who kept me from being depressed. Who prayed with me every day. She was a Christian. I was not. I never know Christ, but he prayed with me every single day while she was working. Sorry, while she was working, she when her shift is over, she comes over and pray with me, and then she would sit with me and she would talk with me, and so she became like my mother figure, and so she helped me through the tough times. And so I don't know who put her. Yeah, I don't know who put her into my life, but she did. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, let's backtrack real quick on
Hmm.
that. So to just catch us up, your dad noticed that you had your wound, right? And so he
Yes,
had put you out of the house because you said the wound had gotten so bad, right?
yes,
And that it was, I guess it sounds like an infection. It was getting infected.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that it was getting infected. And I just wanted to ask you about that. How did you feel? Because you said you're about 10 years old. How did
Hmm.
you feel when that happened, being like put out of the house and yeah,
Well,
not being
I
able to,
felt.
mhm, not being able to stay with your family? And sorry to cut you off,
Mm-mm.
but just not being able to stay with your family at that age. You haven't done anything bad, right? Um, and so just tell me how you felt at that time.
Okay, at that time, the way my brothers was looking at me, I pretty much felt like, okay, even my own brothers was disowning me.
Mm,
They come and visit me. They come and visit me, and where I was outside, they will come. They will bring me water,
mm,
and they stay within a distance because I smell so bad, and so they will stay in the
mm,
distance and they would talk with me. And one time I remember when my dad, my brother, one of my brother, put their hands over their nose because they don't want to smell me,
mm.
and so that made me first of all embarrassed, and
Yeah.
because they respect me. I was like the leader. I lead them everywhere, and now I
Mm,
become less than just
mm.
sitting on the corner somewhere, pretty much wasting away my life.
Wow.
And so I felt sad and depressed as a kid. Um, and I didn't know if I did something wrong. I didn't know if I was going to live. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. The unknown was scaring me. I was scared. I felt alone. I felt alone.
Yes, yeah. And that's what I was thinking too. For a child being put out of the house, um, them not knowing why they're there and it being punishment. You know, when you do something bad, if you get sent out of the house to sit out, it's like, I don't want to deal with you anymore. If your mom tells you
Exactly.
get out, you in trouble. So,
Mm.
and that's what I was wondering at that age, if you understood what was going on or why you were being sent out, but it felt like punishment is what it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like because and also I didn't blame them. I did not blame my family for doing that because the
Mhm.
smell was unbearable, and so I did not. Yeah, I did not. I did not have any animus. Is that what you call? I didn't have any ill towards them.
Right.
I understood. I understood where they're coming from, and so I did not I did not have any angry or whatever towards them. Yeah,
Yeah. So you understood that it wasn't due to you doing anything bad or even them not loving you. You said it
exactly.
was just because the wound was getting so infected and the smell of it. So,
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
The other part I just wanted to just highlight was what you said about your dad. And I we did hear the end of that part about how he didn't come to the hospital, but his concern for you as his firstborn, taking you to the doctor to try to get you the help. To then you said he spent all he had for you at the hospital. I think
Hmm.
for the car. Was it for the car?
Yes, for the car. Yes, for the taxi. You can say a taxi or a truck. Maybe a truck is much more. But he spent all the money. Yeah, to for the
Yeah,
driver.
Right, for the driver and then for the hospital. I know all
Mhm.
about that with
Yes.
family back home, the hospital bill and not having insurance. For those here in the US or just in other areas where there is health insurance, in other countries that are developing and in areas are developing. And I just want to give context to the area that Isaac, you're talking about, and the area that I grew up in. It's a little bit more rural and not as developed as
Mhm.
other parts of Ghana or other parts of the world. And so having access to hospitals, health insurance, you don't always have that. But
No.
I do notice the love that your father had to try to get
Mhm.
you help and taking
Mhm.
you to the hospital, and I would take it as him not coming back. He doesn't have the money to pay for a month's expense.
Exactly. And that's when, if you want me to expand on that, that part where he didn't come
Mm-hmm.
back, at the
Mm,
time, at the time, as a kid, I was angry at him. I didn't
mm,
understood. I didn't understood why he didn't come back. Is it because I'm not going to get better? Is it because there
mm-hmm,
was no hope for me? Because when you have your
mm,
family with you, the family is a strong tie. It's very strong. When the family is together,
mm-hmm.
we are strong together.
Yeah.
So when all my family left me, it was just like
Wow.
I left alone fighting a battle that my dad just left. Right?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So my thing is for me to fight alone, but I like the way you put it. At the time, yes, at the time I was angry. At the time,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was depressed. Um, I didn't think they loved me anymore.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking
Yep.
of the way that
Yeah.
the money issue. Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess you can say selfishly, that's where I was, you know.
Well, and I would say exactly what you said. As a child, you didn't know, but
Yeah.
even me now, as an adult and family back home, going through situations, not life or death, but definitely health issues or needing surgery, and them not being able to pay medical bill, and them reaching out to me. We've been down that road many a
Hmm.
time. So as an adult, I can understand it. But as a child, you don't know that, hey, they don't have money and here you got to pay up or
Hmm.
there's going to be consequences. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there was a lot of so my situation. I was yeah I was I recall one night I literally cried
Mm-hmm.
myself to sleep, and since then
Mm.
every night I cried myself to sleep. Those are my dark
Mm.
days. I call them my dark days. So
Mm.
I was just because of the disease I lost my
Yeah.
family. And so I did not, at the time,
Mm.
I was so angry at my
Yeah.
family.
Mm.
And I did not know why they left and why they did what they did. So
Yeah.
I cried so much that I didn't have any tear
Mm.
left. I didn't have any tear
Yeah.
left. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Well, let's take it back to, well, up to you being at the hospital. So you're there and you said your dad left and he never came back. Just to pick up from that, did you ever see your dad again at the hospital? He never came back at all, right? Or
Uh,
did he?
um, so one day I was hoping he would come back,
Mm-hmm.
a month or 2 months later. So one day he returned, but not with the money. He
Okay.
returned, but not with the money. So what he did, what he said about to the hospital when he came back without the money, he pleaded that you know what, I'm just going to. So he came with my other brother. He came with my one brother. He came with,
Mm-hmm.
and so I said to them, I was so happy to see my dad and my other brother. I was elated. I was like, it was a Christmas morning. I just to
Yeah.
see him, to see his face, and to see him alive because I didn't know what happened.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
to reassure me that he's alive and well, and my
Yeah.
family is well, alive and well, I was happy. So
Yeah.
so anyway, when they came to visit me the first time, I mean second time, sorry, second time, my my brother, my second older brother, and I said, oh, where's my other brother, my other one, the other brother, you know,
Yeah.
and my immediately my other brother looked at my dad. He just looked at my
Mm.
dad in the face, and I was like, oh, what's going on? So they look at each other, and they sat down beside my bed, and they put their arm. I remember clearly. They put their arm around me and says to me, "He passed away.
Mm.
He did not make it." And I knew that was going to happen because
Wow.
he's always sick. He's always sick. Since he was born, he's always sick. His stomach
Mm.
was larger than the rest of his body. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you call that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
Yeah.
word for that. So his stomach was larger than the rest of his body. His body was like a Holocaust survival. Survival.
Mm.
So he, I guess you can say malnourishment. I don't know. So he died,
Mm.
and so at that
Yeah.
point, I started to break down, crying because he was my youngest brother. I never got a chance
Yeah.
to say goodbye, um,
Yeah.
and so they just came to give me the news. That's what they
Okay.
did. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah.
All right. So after he dropped you off at the hospital, you never saw him again. All you got was the news that he had passed.
Yes,
Okay.
my younger brother. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
came and told you. Okay. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really, really challenging. And I don't know what that was, but yeah, could have been a growth, anything. And so he was already
Mm-hmm.
sick, so you kind of knew that he might pass away. So it didn't surprise you too much because he was
Mm-mm.
sick.
Always.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Was your mom in the picture?
Yeah, I
Your
have
mother?
a mother. I have a mom.
Hmm.
She's always a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
That part of the world. That part of the world. Always women always taking care of the children. So uh, she's always in the cooking and cleaning. Just a
Okay.
stay-at-home mom. She
Yeah.
was doing all that stuff, and so yeah, my mom was in the picture. But she's always busy doing other things.
Okay.
Um, my dad was the main person who we always turn to if we
Yeah.
need like medic a care. If
Yeah.
we hurt our foot when we are
Yeah.
walking because we don't have shoes. We don't have
Yeah.
good shoes. So we
Yeah.
always have the flip flops. So
Yeah.
if we step our feet or something like that, we hurt ourselves. My dad's always the one to return to. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, people don't know how good
yeah,
they have it.
yeah.
In more rural parts, and I just want to
Hmm.
emphasize rural parts because
Yeah.
in
Yep, that's
Ghana
right.
there's also developed areas.
Hmm.
Accra, it looks like New
Yep,
York, even more
exactly.
traffic, I would say. But in the
Exactly.
more rural areas that are a little less developed,
And less.
and then in parts that may be facing poverty,
Oh,
one of the things
oh,
common is
100%.
like not having shoes. And yes, uh,
100%.
yeah, yeah,
100%.
especially for the children.
And yeah.
Yeah,
So
yep.
going back to the flip flop situation. One time I was running. You probably know this. One time I was running, and the flip flop, the
Mm-hmm.
nose popped up. The
Yeah.
nose popped right up. So what I
Yeah.
did is we sewed it together. We tied it. We pulled it in, and we
Uh-huh.
tied it together. We tied it with some
Yeah.
string, so it doesn't pull out of it. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like the nose, the thing
Yep.
comes out. Yeah. So we always have to fix it and
Yeah.
just keep going. That's all.
And
Yeah.
be creative. Be creative.
Yes, we always have to be creative in that part of the
Yeah.
world. It's all about survival. It's all about survival where I live.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
survive. Yeah.
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 But the nice thing is that you have family. So you're facing poverty,
It's
but you have your
yeah.
family and
Important.
community
Very
and
important. Very important.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the
And we
beauty
all
of
work
it.
together. And we all work
Mhm.
together. Yeah. We all
Yeah.
work together as a family. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
did miss
I
them a
love
lot. I
that.
did miss yeah. I did miss them.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to then go to what happens next after that. Your brothers have given you the news, and you went into a little bit about the nurses who were taking care of you at
Mhm.
the hospital.
Comfort Naturally for Comfort Naturally Hospital. Comfort
Hmm.
Naturally Hospital. Yeah. Teaching
Okay.
hospital.
Teaching hospital. Okay. So tell me about the what happened next. You've heard the news. You're still at the hospital and you're staying there. What happens next? What happens with your arm? Um, yeah.
So, what they started with, when my dad came back, he again to give me the news. He didn't have the money, so he pleaded with the hospital again to give him a second chance, another chance. So he they say, okay, we give you another month. So so when he left, they decided to start cleaning the wounds, trying to get rid of the infection. So they did a lot of skin graft, a lot of skin graft. So you know how skin graft work. They take a
Hmm.
skin from my other, and they put it on the
Hmm.
infection arm, trying to stop it. But the skin
Hmm.
graft never take. It never take. It's always get infected. So
Mm.
so they keep doing that. So I have a body where everywhere they cut, I still have skin. I still have a scar to prove it. They cut everywhere, trying to
Mm.
repair it, trying to repair the infection, and every time it never takes. So so anyway, while I was in the hospital dealing with the doctors and everything, in the meantime, um, I did not know the Lord or anything like that. I was born in a Muslim, as a Muslim, and so I didn't know
Mm.
anything about God. So in the meantime, I have this nurse always stop by. Uh, every morning she would stop by and say hi to me, and she would say, and
Mm.
then before she leave, she says a prayer for me, and then I didn't know what she's talking about because I don't know anything about prayer. Only closest I got to seeing church is when Sunday morning Christians get to go to
Mm.
church. Every morning I see
Mm.
Christians go to church, and that's it. But I see this lady always come to me and say hi. So she's always pray for my arm, pray that my arm heals and things like that. But yeah, the doctors were taking care of the infection and giving medication, um, and nothing helped. Nothing works. Nothing seemed to be working. So they kept trying. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that must have been very discouraging. When it's
Yes.
not getting better, even getting regular medical attention. Um,
Yes.
but what happens after that? So you've got the nurse praying for you, and you refer to her as one of your angels that had
Yes.
come, and they're working on these wounds. They're trying to do the skin grafting. Nothing is taking. So, what comes next after that?
So this is rewind to a couple of years later. It's about I've been in the hospital at this point. The nurses coming she kept coming to my we she became to know I became she became she's like a mother to me every time
Mm.
she comes she bring me clothes, she bring
Mm-hmm.
me things, you know food and everything because I've been in the hospital so long that the hospital food was getting tiresome. So
Yeah.
this is about maybe 5 years from that, 5 years now since I haven't seen my father.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah. So I was there. I got to know all the doctors. I got to know all the nurses. I pretty much became like the resident, in that
Mm-hmm.
hospital. So what happened next is pretty much a miracle. So they kept doing this skin grab. They keep bringing doctors from America. There was one doctor came from America, did another skin graft, and that took for a little bit. It took. I don't know what he did, but it took for a little bit, and and then it started to pure again. A couple of months later,
Mm.
it started to pure again. And at this point, the doctors didn't know what to do, and so they decided, you know what? We ran out of options here. And you are growing up. You're
Mm-hmm.
like 12 years old now, 13 years old now, and you're getting
Mm-hmm.
older for this hospital. So to make a long story, I don't want to keep dragging on. So they decided, okay, you know what? We're gonna have to do something with you. We don't know what to do. So
Okay.
um, here comes my second angel, uh, and you know who I'm gonna. So the angel steps in. Her name is Rebecca.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if you want me to continue with that, but Rebecca came to the picture. Not, it was by mistake. He came looking for another girl, a little baby girl, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the lady girl unfortunately passed away.
Okay.
And so this is where, so I don't know if you.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna just ask you give a little background on who Rebecca is. So she's come in
Okay.
and she's looking for
Mm-hmm.
a um little girl who's passed
Mm-hmm.
away.
Yes. So, so Rebecca is a missionary who's already lived in Ghana, West Africa, who's already lived there for a couple of years. It's Rebecca and Gary, her husband. They work in uh, in they work in the royal part of Ghana, in Suta or with Mary, not Mary. Oh my goodness, I'm losing people's name here. Anyway, she worked in Ankasi, not Ankasi, for with her and her husband for many years. And she decided anyway. So what they do is they build hospitals or they build homes and hospitals and also do surgeries in the villages. And so they like the doctors with no borders, but they're not like that. But Rebecca loved children, so for I heard, so she came to look for a little girl, and so when she came there, the little girl has already passed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
and so I saw this lady come towards my bed and with Auntie Mary. And so Auntie Mary has filled her in with my condition, with my
Mm.
problem. And Auntie Mary, this is another miracle. Auntie Mary, and so she decided, I didn't speak English then. So she decided to translate for me. And so she was translating from English to my language. And so she says to Auntie Mary, um, do you mind if I take pictures, of the
Mm.
wounds? So she has this shocked face. She was shocked what she was seeing. So she was taking pictures of
Mm.
my legs, taking pictures of at this point, there was my leg was also open wounds at this point. And so she took
Mm.
pictures of my legs and my arm. I still have the pictures today. I still have it.
Mm.
And so
Wow.
she decided to take pictures of it. And she says to me, I want to help you. I'm gonna help you. I came for a little girl, but unfortunately she already passed. But Auntie Mary told me about your condition, and I'm gonna try. Normally, I take little girls to America, but you're a little old, but I'm gonna try to see if I can help. So she
Oh.
called, yeah. So she called the state. She called the state, uh, and they decided, um, yeah, that let's help him. So the problem I'm gonna have was now they're gonna deal with visa. So that's why, yeah.
All right. So I wanted to then ask, how did it feel to hear someone say that they wanted to help you?
Uh, it felt like it was surreal. It was surreal because I
Mm.
never have a stranger approach me
Mm-hmm.
and say, "I'm going to help you," with such kindness
Mm.
of her voice, and that
Mm-hmm.
made me feel. That made me feel like I can trust her,
Mm-hmm.
and I can trust that she mean what she said,
Yeah.
because when somebody said that, if anybody else said that, you probably would not believe it. I just didn't believe it at first,
Mm.
that she'll be able to help me. But anyway, so she's like, "I'm going to help you." And immediately I felt this happiness in me. I
Mm.
felt the feeling that I felt is like, it's so hard to describe,
Yeah.
that finally somebody is reaching out to help me. Even though I have
Mm.
Auntie Mary, even though I have Auntie Mary with me on my side the whole time, helping me, I finally have maybe hope. Maybe there's a hope
Wow.
that I'll be able to get some help, the much needed help.
Yeah.
And I also heard America. I heard about America, and that I can get the medication, or I can get the medical
Mm.
necessity or medical help that I can. Yeah. So I was happy.
Mm.
The happiness was, it was there. Yeah.
Yeah. So she says she's gonna help you. What does she do to help you?
Okay. So that's so anyway. So she told me that she's gonna need a visa, which is
Mm.
that's the first thing, is um, like a visiting or medical visa or
Mhm,
work,
mhm.
Um, so Auntie Mary, so the only problem was she would need money to pay
Mm.
for the visa.
Yep.
So my so Auntie Mary raised her hand and say, "I will pay for the visa." So Auntie
Wow.
Mary opened her wallet. She quickly went and purchased, not purchased, but to get the visa. And all was left was, trying to say that, one thing about people like Auntie Mary, you cannot thank him enough. You cannot say
Mm.
thank you. All you can say was, all I said was to her, I looked at her and said to her, because of her, I
Yeah.
was able to come here to
Yeah.
get the help that I much needed. Because of her, I was able to get the visa that I needed. Because that part of the world, again, people do not have, there's not, money doesn't grow on trees. Everybody is
Right.
fighting. Everybody is fighting for survival. And she has
Yeah.
family also to feed. But she
Mhm,
decided
mhm,
to open up her wallet
mhm.
to buy the visa to help me. And with that, I was thankful.
Yeah. And so I can definitely see why you described her as an angel. I just wanna ask, was she Ghanaian?
Yes.
She was Ghanaian. Okay. So yeah, when you were talking about her family and having to feed them also, I was like, okay, so she's one of our locals. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. Yeah. Even knowing that and knowing that area, and like you just said, how hard it is to come by money, in some of those parts, um, of Ghana, for her to do that was so selfless. And
Yes.
so just for her, she encouraged
Mm.
you while you were by yourself, at the hospital without your parents there praying for you. And then just when you needed that help, she stepped up at the most important part. And before you had talked to me about those people being kind of like lifelines to you, um,
Yes,
when you had
absolutely.
shared this part of your story. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, those two, because when I was describing Lifeline, it's
Mm-hmm.
because my the ability of, like, for me not be so depressed and being
Mm-hmm.
so in the dark, and I felt like
Mm,
pretty much I was in the road, and I was in the road somewhere. I felt like I was
mm,
in the street somewhere where nobody cares,
yeah.
where everybody just pass you by. But those two stop
Wow.
and say, you know what? Everybody deserves love. And those two
Mm-hmm.
stop and say, you know, God sent them. It is nothing happened for out of vacuum. Nothing
Yeah.
happened. Nothing happened for everything happened for a reason. And I
Yes.
believe to this day, God sent those two women to say, pick him
Mm,
up, pick
yep.
him up, and know that he can get a lifeline from me. And the
Mm-hmm.
lifeline came from God. And he had that
Amen.
lifeline, and he gave me the lifeline that I know that it came from those two women, but God gave him those lifeline. First, to say, I'm going to bring you to America to get you some much needed help. And
Mm-hmm.
that the biggest lifeline they throw me, that Rebecca threw me, was that I need to give you the lifeline that you much needed, much needed. We prayed. I prayed for help, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I didn't think the answer was going to
Yeah.
be that. It shocked
Yeah.
me. I was shocked to see that
Yeah.
people would throw me the lifeline. Yes.
Yeah. And that's what sometimes makes people miss when God is sending help. Um, I don't know if you've heard that story about the man who his ship is sinking and he asks God to help him, and I forget how it goes, but like
Mhm.
somebody comes by maybe on a ski jet or something and says hey, or like a fish swims by, and each time he like didn't take it and he passes away, and he says, hey, I was crying for you to help me, and I forget exactly how that goes, but he was kind of was
Mhm.
asking you God to help me, but you didn't help me, and he said, I did help you. Remember, I sent that ship that was coming that way, and this, that,
Mhm.
and but you were not expecting it in that way, and you didn't accept that help. Um, so that
Yep.
was in an unexpected place where you have a missionary from the United
Mhm.
States, a woman who
Mhm.
comes and shows up, you know, in Ghana, not knowing your language fluently or culture, just
Mhm.
outside of where you're from, is who God uses to help you. And so
Absolutely.
sometimes when we're praying, sometimes we miss it because God's like, here's your answer. It's just not going to come in the way that you may expect
Mhm.
or be used to. You know, she came from the outside. Um,
Amen.
yeah,
Amen.
yeah. So she's gotten the money for your visa. And so when do you arrive in Ghana or, well, in the United States? What happens next to getting you to the United States and getting you the treatment and medication that is possible for you here?
Great question. So, so backing up. So, the day, the night that I was able, because everything was set to go, the visa was set, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that night, I could not sleep with the excitement. I could not sleep that night.
Oh,
I was so excited. You know how if when you win something or when you
yeah.
expecting something nice, you
Yes.
like it feel to me it felt like I was able to. It's like the weight lifted off my shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I felt light. It felt like light to me, and I was so happy for the next morning to arrive. So
Yeah.
the next morning, uh, it was about maybe noontime before I leave the hospital. Like the 7 years, 10 years that I was in there, the 7 years,
Wow.
um, my my family, my hospital
Mm.
family, they all got together and they brought. So what happened was, um, my real name was not going to fit on the passport. This is where I'm going to backtrack a little bit. My name was not going to fit on the passport. Oh, not passport,
Okay.
sorry, the visa. So my real name was Kofi Amidou Sisala. That's hard to,
Okay.
put it on there. So they said to me, we need to have you pick a name. And
Okay.
so they gave me the Bible, and
Mm.
I went through the Bible, and Isaac came to mind. And I
Wow.
said to them, they said, I never heard of the name Isaac before, but I like the sound of Isaac.
Mhm.
And they said
Mhm.
to me, do you know what the meaning of Isaac mean? And I
Mhm.
said, no. And they say it means laughter. And so
Oh.
and so that point on, the name Isaac, I picked it for myself. And that's when my name
Mm.
became Isaac. So anyway, the
So I did want to ask, so I didn't know that you had picked your name, and that sometimes people do that coming to the United States. Their name is too hard to pronounce, or
Mhm.
foreigners may not be able to read it. And so
Yes.
just part of being able to assimilate, they may be given a new name. So you chose your name uh from the Bible, you said?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And how was that for you? Were you so your name is what you respond to, it's what you're given at birth, and you get attached to it and know it, especially if you love your name. What was that running through your head when they said you need a new name? Were you on board? Um, was there any type of attachment or loss with that? Or did, what was going through your
Well,
mind with that?
what was going through my mind is exactly what you
Mm.
said. It's like, okay, I have my name for all my life. I was born with it.
Yeah.
My
Yes.
parents gave me my name. It was so
Yep.
special to my parents. So
Mhm.
it felt like me letting
Mm.
my name go, me letting that
Yeah.
go. It felt like I was
Mhm.
losing part of myself, my part of my
Wow.
heritage,
Mhm.
part of what I was born with. Because in my culture, name means
Mhm.
everything. Name is like strong,
Yeah.
So I felt like I was losing part of myself. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I was going into a new era. I was going to a new
Yeah.
beginning. I saw
Yep.
that as a beginning,
Mhm.
of something special.
Yeah. All right. So you choose the name Isaac, which means laughter, which is something I didn't know. But I'm going to say maybe it's also showing where you were going next. Maybe that time of grief was coming to an end, and maybe God was going to put laughter in your mouth. But I like that. I love to laugh. And
Mm,
you're also very
thank you.
joyful and optimistic.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I think that name sits with you well. And I even like it all the more because you chose it. And it was the name that resonated within your spirit, which makes it
Hmm.
special, which makes it your own, where it wasn't something that they said, okay, we need a shorter name that we can put on this, and here, you know. So I
That's
love that you
true.
chose it. It makes it your own. It makes it your own name for
Yep.
your new journey coming. You picked your name, you're getting ready to go. One other thing, how did it feel saying goodbye to your family? You've been in the hospital most of your childhood. Like you
Hmm.
said, they're your family. What was it like
Family.
to say bye to them? Um, but yeah, what was it like? Was it, I guess, maybe bittersweet?
it was bittersweet.
Mm.
I was so it was sad. We were crying,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
especially Auntie Mary was crying, and with happiness for me.
Yeah.
She was crying with happiness. We were crying with
Mm.
happiness, and they threw a party for me, and
Mhm.
we all hug each other, and I didn't know about the party because it surprised me with it. So they walked
Yeah.
me into this big room because I never had a in all my life. I never had a
Yeah.
surprise party before all my
Mhm.
life since I was born. We don't celebrate birthdays, um, so I never have a surprise party before. So
Yeah.
when they walked me into this big room with all the
Mhm.
nurses who took care of me and the doctors, everything was it was so surreal. It was surreal. I was I was happy. Everybody was happy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So so that was a chapter. They had a chapter of my life. The closing the chapter of my life.
All right. So you've said goodbye to your family that you've had at the hospital, and now what happens next?
So we arrived in Accra,
Mhm.
as you know. It was a long ride, but you know, it was a happiness. So we arrived in Accra. I saw this big thing. It's a plane. I never, we see a
Mm.
plane all the time on the air, but it's always small. But I never
Mhm.
see an up close one. So I got in the
Yeah.
plane. Immediately, I got so scared because it was moving, and I got
Yeah.
so scared. And Rebecca has to grab my hand. She has to grab my hand to make sure I wasn't, you know,
Mhm.
um, so I wasn't nervous or anything. So she grabbed my hand, and I was fine. And so we arrived in London, and we had
Okay.
to, switch the plane,
Yep.
switch on the
Yep.
plane from London, and then I think we arrived in the United States. I
Mhm.
remember it was in November. It was the coldest November. Coming from
Mhm.
Africa to um, coming from Africa to America was the coldest time, and I never
Mhm.
felt that kind of cold in my life. So somebody came. Somebody, luckily, one of the family member, Rebecca, told him to bring a blanket. So they agreed us in the airport, and they brought a blanket, and they put a blanket around me, and to feel warm. So they thought of everything. So they knew I was
Yeah.
going to get cold.
Yeah.
So so we went, So yeah, it was
Yeah.
nice.
And I feel like every African child, well, anybody coming from a warm place, a
Hmm.
mostly hotter climate, goes through that wave of winter, that first impact. I think there's got to be like a memoir or a book that we all just record our first winter. And it's
Yeah.
like your little dress that you got, your little sundress or your little skirt.
Hmm.
Yeah, our little
Hmm.
shorts. Nope, and then you
Hmm.
just get hit with like, okay, this is coldness. you know I
Hmm.
coldness to me was when you wake up in the morning, right? Like first thing in the morning and it's cool out. That was like
Hmm.
cold. No, it wasn't cold.
Hmm.
It's like 65, but to us
Oh
it's like, oh,
yes.
that's freezing. And then so the
Absolutely.
real cold of
Hmm.
20, 15 degrees when the weather's in the teens, it's, yeah, that's a whole nother level of trauma that should be
Yeah.
explored
Hmm.
and
Oh yeah.
looked into.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So they thought of you, they brought you blankets and stuff like
Mm.
that.
Thank God.
um
Yes.
yeah, did you get a coat, anything like that, just getting used to the climate?
Yes. It took a little bit to get used to the
Yeah.
coldness, but unfortunately, fortunately, they brought a coat. They brought
Yeah.
everything for me to wear, something heavy for me to wear, so I don't get
Nice.
too cold. Yeah,
Oh,
that was
see,
very
they came
nice.
prepared.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yeah. So,
All right. So you've landed in the US, you're getting adjusted to the weather and everything. What happens now with the move to help you with your health condition? So you said there was possible medication that they could offer, and she taken
mhm,
pictures, I guess, for them to review. So what
yes.
happened with getting you the medical care that you needed?
So, to to go back to so this is my second time being in America. Second time. So I'm just talking about the second time now. The first time was different from the second time. So the second time I landed, if you want to cut it, second time I landed in Shriners in Chicago, O'Hare, and so we decided to. That's what I got a code in it.
Okay. So just to clarify, you you were telling us of the second time when you left and said bye to everybody at the hospital. Um, what was the first time that you'd come, and what was it
Oh,
for? Just briefly.
so okay, briefly, first time was to come in and to clean up the wounds and everything. That was the first time here, and that
Okay.
didn't work. So my visa expired, and I had to return to Africa. So I got sick
Okay.
again, and Rebecca has to make another arrangement to bring me here.
Okay. Okay. So she had taken you to the US and they just cleaned the wounds and sent you
Yes,
back.
yes,
And your condition got worse?
exactly, yes, yeah,
Okay. And after that, you came back, and that's where we're picking up the second time
exactly,
that you're now
exactly,
back.
yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, continue from there. So what happens next? Now you're here for and I'm looking like more permanent treatment, not just a cleaning, because that's not
Hmm.
enough. So what did
Exactly.
they decide to do moving forward?
So I arrived in Shriners Hospital in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I
Mm.
arrived there, they quickly noticed the hand was not savable. It cannot be, saved.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't go through all the cleaning and everything. They just noticed it's too bad to save it. So they says to me to make a decision, either get rid of the hand or the
Mm.
arm, or to go back home, and they guarantee me that I'm not going to survive from it.
Oh.
Um, because the infection is going to travel. It's going to it's
Mm.
going to wind up killing me.
So you're told that you might either die from it if you don't get it removed, or there's possibility that you can live if they remove it. And
Mhm.
so what's going through your head with this?
Well, first of all, my left arm, that it does work. I can bend. I can use it. It functions. But the problem is, it's just too swelling, and it's not workable. It's not. It would the infection is what they worry about. So they decided, you know what? So they didn't give me pretty much I didn't have a choice. At the same time, I felt like I'm going to lose part of me, the part of the body that I was born with all my life. I've been, using it all my life. All of a sudden, I'm going to lose it. And so I felt scared, and I didn't know how else I'm going to work, you know. But then they told me there's
Mm-hmm.
a good news. They said there's a good news. It's a prosthetic, it's called. We're going to give you a prosthetic hand. And that made my decision easier. Well, I didn't have a choice,
Mm.
but that made it easier for me to make the decision when they told me about prosthetic. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So knowing that you would have a way to function and live in life, right, is what one of the reasons that helps you to make that really difficult decision. Um, I mean, that's something I can sympathize with, but I can't really empathize. to be in that situation where it's like to live, I gotta lose my arm or I gotta go, you know. Um, and so what a tough place to be in,
Yeah.
and to make that kind of decision. But what gave you hope, you said, was knowing that they could give you a prosthetic arm that would be able to help
Yes.
you to go
Yeah.
around. Yeah. What
So
I
so they oh sorry to carry you.
oh,
So anyway,
mhm.
so they came over. They came in and brought a plastic. They also brought a prosthetic hand to the hospital to show me what it looks like. Before
Mm,
they were very kind. The way they made it my decision easier. They brought a prosthetic hand to the hospital, into my room to for me
yeah.
to see what it looks like,
Wow.
and they're like this would help you, but the alternative is worse. So
Yeah.
that made my decision. That made my decision much easier for me to make, although I have no choice. It's like life give you no choice. And so I had
Yeah.
to make it. Yeah. Either die
Yeah.
or, yeah. So,
Yeah, one of those situations where exactly what you said, you have to really choose to live. And even if you're going to live with um a challenge, a physical challenge now that you're going to face for the rest of your life, it's better to live than to not live at all. I think it was
yeah.
just so compassionate that they brought you an arm to show you. Can I
hmm
ask about how old were you at that time?
this time I was 14 years old. No, 15, sorry, 15 years old. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Being 15 years old and having to make a permanent life decision like that. Most 15-year-olds, teenagers don't have to face that type of I don't even know how to say it, but such a serious and life impacting decision like that. And so I just want to commend you for your bravery. And then I just appreciate the sensitivity of the hospital giving you a hope like this may happen, but there's a solution to help you. And then going above and beyond to show you what the arm is like and what it will look like. It just prepares your mind for what's to come.
Yes.
So it lessens the shock of it all. Mm,
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Psychologically, it helped me psychologically
yeah.
with
Mm,
and also the person who also helped me get through this decision making, which she
mm-hmm.
cannot make it for me, is Rebecca.
Yeah.
Right next, she
Okay.
was right next to me. She was right next to me the whole time because I couldn't speak English, and she speak a little bit of my language. So they were translating. She was
Mm,
translating the best she can, but they also have a translator also in the hospital, but they don't speak it. They don't have like a translator like a Spanish. My language. They don't have my language like a translator. It's hard to get by. So
okay.
it's hard to get my kind of translation. So Rebecca was right there trying to do her best as she can to translate
Mm-hmm.
what he's saying to me to make it.
Yeah.
So when they showed me the visual helped me a lot, which is
Mm,
that was the visual that made me easier for me to say yes, not my head.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
and give me the visual to say, oh, this is what it meant. This is what it mean.
okay.
Yeah. So that's what they brought a hand because I could not understand what they were saying. So they brought a hand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love that too because they understood the language barrier. So
hmm
even with that helping of making sure you understood what they meant by a prosthetic arm,
hmm
and them not having the language to communicate with you in your language. Um, so yeah, so help with the language barrier to understand what they're
hmm
talking about, and then, like you said, psychologically helping you to prepare your mind for,
hmm
okay, there is hope on
To
this
go
other
ahead.
side, and there's a way for me to function through life with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Another,
you're
hmm,
so you're
another, uh, sorry, another lifeline, another lifeline that was thrown was them bringing the hand to show me to prepare myself psychologically, like you said. Yeah.
hmm, yeah. So you see the prosthetic arm as a lifeline.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, helping you through not obviously not having your arm. So another
Exactly.
lifeline that got through to
hmm
you was
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
prosthetic arm. Okay.
hmm
Yeah. And that's the blessing of medical sciences. Um,
mm
and we know, how expensive it is to go to medical school and how many years they have to
hmm
study and just all the work that
hmm
they do. But every little bit counts towards research.
hmm
And then they see the long term effects later in just individual people like you or me for whatever medication we need, or even just inventions like having prosthetic arms and things like that.
mm mm
And so that's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
hmm
So,
Yeah.
what helps you to finally make your decision, or what moment comes where you give them the okay for them to do the amputation?
Okay. After they showed me the prosthetic hand, that made it easier. So they went out of the room, and just me and Rebecca, and we sat down. And she looked at me, and she told me in my language, "This is the best option."
Mm,
And and it's your decision, but this is the best option. They can save the hand,
yeah.
and so this is the best option. And I just tear it up. I cry because
Mm,
I know I'm going to lose part of me. Um,
yeah.
but at the same time, the alternative was not good. So I decided, you know what? With her by my side, Rebecca and God, everything will be okay.
Yeah.
So I gave the go ahead. I gave them the go ahead that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like another bittersweet moment, right? It was like, and that's what I find in life. The hardest decisions we have to make, there's always a something pulling us back to it. You were saying goodbye to those people, to all your nurses at the
Mhm.
hospital who are taking care of you. But if you didn't leave, that would be the rest of your life. You would just be
Exactly.
in the hospital,
Mhm.
unless they finally eventually said you've got to go. There wasn't much of a future. And you said with all their cleanings and trying to engraft skin, nothing was working and you were getting worse. So although it was hard to say goodbye, um, leaving gave you, like you said, hope. Okay, now we can do something else and see if that
Mhm.
works. And so,
Mhm.
same now, you're put in another situation where you've got to say goodbye to your arm, but keeping your arm, it's now gotten so bad. They're like, okay, we got to take it to a next level. It's just got to go. And it's so hard to say goodbye. But at the end of where we let go of things, it's like that's where the
Mhm.
healing can begin.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
whether it's physical or emotional, where we got to let go of things that are hurting us, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a really, really brave decision, a really hard decision. As you said, it was a part of you. So you've made that difficult decision, um, with the support and just the advising of Rebecca. Um, and so what happens next?
Well, do I happen to next? Since I talked to my guardian angel, that's what I call her. Um, the
Mm,
next morning, she came to the hospital the next morning,
mm-hmm.
and she made sure that everything was good. She made sure that I wasn't nervous. She made sure everything is good with the
Yeah.
surgery. And so she became like a short term, like a mother to me. So she was right there on my side, going in. And she made
Mm.
sure that I wasn't scared because it was a new environment. It was a new environment. I didn't know anybody there. Only person I knew was Rebecca. I
Mm.
didn't know anybody there. So she made sure that I can see her face before I go inside the surgery.
Mhm.
So she says to me, one thing she says to me before I went in, she says to me, everything will be okay. When you wake
Mm.
up, I'll be here. I'll be here
Mm.
waiting for you. And
Wow.
that
Yeah.
assurance, it's like I'm gonna wake up to see somebody waiting for me. I'm gonna wake up to
Yeah.
see her, you know.
Yep.
So so anyway, my so anyway, I woke up, right? And the doctor told me ahead of time. She says to me,
Mm.
"You are gonna feel that the hand is there. It's called a phantom pain.
Mm. Mm.
You're gonna try to reach for the phantom pain. If you anybody who out there who knows phantom pain, you feel like your arm is still there.
Wow.
And so you're gonna try to reach for it and try to pull it, or
Mm.
gonna try to rob it. It's not there. So
Wow.
they're gonna warn me not to, you know, pull the
Yeah.
stitches because they think that it's still there.
Oh, okay.
So I woke up with the pain like somebody is stabbing me with a few like knives. It's like somebody stabbing me with
Mm.
knives, and also pouring. This is pain like somebody stabbing with the knives and pouring hot sauce on top of the same time.
Ooh.
So I was in so much pain. They had to give
Ah.
me morphine. I had to be
Yeah.
under morphine. So I keep
Mm.
using the morphine, and they kept warning me not to keep using the morphine because it's a problem with that. It's a side effects with the morphine also. But I was in
Mm.
so much pain, I kept using.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Mm.
so I woke up. Like I said, I woke up with the pain. Yeah,
Mm.
it was sad.
Mm. Yeah. I was going to ask you about how you felt, but before that, you were talking about the phantom pain. Now, is that where your brain now registers or is not? I guess it hasn't registered. Your brain still thinks the arm is there
Yes,
and
psychologically,
it's
yes.
like it's still sending it's trying to send signals and it's like, "Wait," you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah,
cuz
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's like you reach, like you send a signal and you
Mhm.
reach a roadblock, and you can't send any more
Mm.
signal. It's blocked. Something is blocked. It's
Yeah.
blocking it. So you feel like your arm is still there because you psychologically your mind is like saying, "Oh, it's still there," and then it's still trying to fire it, and it's not happening.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I want to know about like how long does that last for where your brain registers that it's not there and it's not still sending signal where like they said don't pull at it, don't pull the stitches,
Hmm.
don't reach and you got to have to kind of like fight that um
Hmm.
cuz your brain is, confused too. It's waking up too to wait, what did you do?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
mm,
Oh yeah. So when I woke up, when I guess anyway, so it didn't take long to answer your question.
okay.
It doesn't take a long time to realize it because when you open your eyes or when you are in a hospital
Mm,
room or wake up in pain, you lift your hand up obviously, and it's not
yeah.
there. That's the first
Mm,
time. That's the first time. It's like you losing a valuable thing.
wow.
And Rebecca has to hug me. I was crying because the
Mm.
first time in my life I lost
Yeah.
a part of me, So
Yeah.
she started to hug me because I lifted the hand up, it wasn't there. Even though I knew even though I knew that was the
Right.
case, that was
Yeah.
happening, but it didn't register until I woke up.
Yeah. Yep.
If you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I understand what you're saying where it became real.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're woken up, you're upset, and you said you feel like you've lost a part of you. And I think that's the best way to say it, because it's your body, and a part of it is missing. And I'm just so grateful for Rebecca.
Yeah.
And Rebecca was just instrumental in so many people's lives. Also, just in my life. But just her presence to just encourage you and comfort you. I love that she gave you encouragement before your surgery. I think that's what every child needs. They just need some type of explanation and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so happy, just even hearing that story. Um, I know your testimony, but just
Mm-hmm.
thinking of a child going through that, any person, an
Mm-hmm.
adult going through that,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, that's so difficult. But that she was there to comfort you and that you weren't
Mm-hmm.
alone in that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so yeah.
Uh, yeah. Her when she look at me in my face, when she look at me in my eyes, the eyes is
Mm,
what you just look at me in the eyes and say, everything will be okay.
yeah.
Everything will be okay.
Mm,
God is on your side. This is what she said. God is on your
mm-hmm.
side. And
Amen.
we will get through, we will get through this together. And
Yeah.
that is what got me, it kept me going through the
Yeah.
surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have someone there who has hope and who is not shaken. So
Mm-mm.
it can give
Mm-mm.
you freedom to be nervous and this and that, but they're like, no, this is fine. You're gonna be great. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
work out.
Mm-hmm.
They're that
Mm-hmm.
like solid rock in the
Optimistic.
storm.
Optimistic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah, they're
optimistic.
optim.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, definitely. She was optimistic at the situation, which gave you hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Powerful,
So,
powerful. So, can you tell me what's happening next with that? So, you've lost your arm and she's comforting you, and you've said that you're going to get a prosthetic arm. Um,
mm-hmm.
so let's get into that. What happens to just adjusting without the arm, and what's going to happen with you now that you're here in the US?
Okay. So, um, number one, so they brought me in the hand. They brought me
Mhm.
after the surgery. After the surgery, everything started to heal up very well,
Yeah, good.
and they decided, okay, it's time for us to do a physical therapy, go to physical
Okay.
therapy, and to learn
Mhm.
how to use the prosthetic hand because
Mm.
this is a new thing now. This is new.
Yeah.
It's not like you're ready, so you have to learn how to use it. So
Mhm.
they sent me to physical therapy for me to get into the process of using my new found arm.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to get adjust or get adapt
Yep.
to it.
Mm.
So every day I go to physical therapy every day, and they will say to me, open, close, open, close. So every time they say open,
Mm.
I have to think in my mind, open mean squeeze your back muscle to open the hand, and close mean oh flex your front muscle to close the hand and to grab something. So I had to practice
Mm.
that. I had to practice open, close. So this is what I was doing in physical therapy every day.
Mhm.
They're teaching me how to do that,
Yeah.
and the language barrier was tough
Mm.
because they had to like do visual. They have to like do visual, and Rebecca was there, but they had to do visual and how they meant for me to open, close, open. So I learned the English I learned the word open so many times, open close so many times that I learned the English from just that.
Yeah.
So I know open close is so so I picked that up. That little open closes that little
Yeah.
word from that. Yeah, from that. So
Mhm.
I guess you can say that that was a good thing. So they were so patient with me in China's
Mhm.
hospital. Yeah.
Okay, so you're at Shriners Hospital, yes, and you said that before. So they're going through the physical therapy because now you've got to learn how to use your arm. It's starting all over again because it's a whole new way. And then you also have the language barrier. And so I'm just picturing the I guess the physical therapist trying to explain to you. And like you said, English was not your first language. But you said Rebecca was there with you to assist?
Yes, to assist with
Okay.
the because she comes visit.
Yeah.
She in Chicago. She doesn't have any family in Chicago, so she
Okay.
flies in and out, but not all the time. So this is
Mm-hmm.
why the and then with the money and flying from Maryland, which she's
Yeah.
from, to Chicago, it's not cheap. So she has
Yeah.
to do that, and she never forgot me. She came when she can. So the hospital pretty much became like I have to get to know the hospital folks, and
Mm-hmm.
so so they kept showing me visuals. So when Rebecca is not there, they bring out the
Mm-hmm.
visuals for me to
Yeah.
learn the how to use the hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep. So you're learning how to use your hand and you're also picking up the language. So it's not
English.
just the physical learning, how to
Mhm.
use the prosthetic arm, but it's also the language barrier and challenge that
Yeah.
came with it
Yes.
also.
Hmm.
So, but
Yeah.
you
So one thing. So when I was in the hospital, because of the language barrier, they're trying to, help me with that by bringing in another person who like always teaching me multiple alphabet, like how to say ABC. So while I was there, they were bringing a lady, Carrie Lucas, her name was. Every Sunday, this woman would come to my hospital. This is the first time I introduced this character. She was so kind, and she's
mm,
another lifeline. She came in,
mm,
and she was a hospital administrator, and she came in, and she would bring me books. She brings me books, and it's about alphabet, like ABCs. So I have to like always learn the ABCs. And anyway, so the hospital was just a God sent. That's what I want to say. They were just God sent. That's what it is. Everybody was so nice to me. So I was learning
yeah.
English while I was there. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So you're picking it up from them teaching you, like you said, learning the word open. And that's a lot of language. You're just picking up orally from what you hear. But then you were
Hmm.
also
Yep.
getting some of the literacy through the book. So I
Hmm.
love that they were
Hmm.
introducing books to just help you also in the language.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so you're at the hospital and you're adjusting to not having your arm. What was that like? Because you talked in the beginning about being at Shriners Hospital and feeling depression because of your situation, but
Hmm.
seeing how the children, their triumph through their challenges kind of motivated, inspired you. So can you tell us about what it felt like being without your arm and just the role that the children at the hospital had and kind of getting you out of that state?
Hmm. So with the depression, um, I didn't know. Even though I lost my arm, all I can
Mhm.
ask, I said, as a young adult, all I can ask was, now what, right?
Yeah.
What if when I go back? Not it, when I go back, what kind of plan did Rebecca have for me?
Mm.
When I go back to Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
so I didn't know what was going to happen next. So every day in that hospital, Shauna's hospital, we we get together and we play basketball with the mix of special needs and regular people. And and they all in a wheelchair. Some of them are wheelchair. Some people can't get up. Some people can. And so to make them happy, we all sit in a wheelchair and we play basketball with them. So we play basketball with them because we can walk, but we want to make them we want to make them feel good. So we all sit in a wheelchair and then we play basketball with them, which was amazing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's like, oh my goodness, my favorite. Just hearing that the other children, those who could walk, sat in a wheelchair to just make it even and just being
Even
able to
yes.
play.
Hmm.
But also it just shows compassion for where they're
Yes.
at, and it just shows friendship. Like we're all friends
Hmm.
and we all have different challenges. So wherever you can, uh, even better, meeting in the middle, wherever you can meet that
Hmm.
person in the middle, so that you can have a relationship and have fun. I love
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
That to me is like
Hmm.
friendship, you know. And in any relationship, somebody's always going to be lacking something, you know. We're not our perfected self. So
Hmm.
whether it's materially, physically, mental and emotional, um, there may be whatever it is that they may need help or assistance with. And so loving is kind of just meeting that person where they're at so that you can have a
Absolutely.
relationship with them. And so I think
Hmm.
it's just so beautiful. Like children, it's just like that. There's just love in their heart, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
that they just naturally like, oh, you have that? Let's all play in
Hmm.
wheelchair. Yeah. I can just see them thinking
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
so cool and
Hmm.
having fun, but they're actually really
Yeah.
just
It
doing
was fun.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So anyway, so sit in a wheelchair and we have so much fun, like I said, and we bump, we always bump in the wheelchair, bumping each other, you know. So you see them
yeah.
laughing and because we're trying to get to the goal, we're trying to get to the basketball, we're trying to get to the so we can score. So we all
Yeah.
run, people will just we wheel the wheelchair and we throw the basketball. Sometimes the staff even join us, even the staff join us sometimes,
Oh,
you know. So
fun.
it makes it real good. Yeah, it was funny. It was fun.
So tell me now how the children at the hospital helped you. So you alluded to it in the beginning of the podcast with the beginning of our conversation. So you alluded to
Yeah.
it in the beginning of our conversation with what motivated you to work with those who have needs or medical needs because of being around those
Mhm.
children. So can you speak on to what you learned from them, what you learned from those, from the children, from the different challenges they were facing, and again, how it impacted you in your journey?
So how that impacted me was interesting because as I watched them, I watched my situation because I felt sorry for myself the longest time. I
Mm,
always feel sorry for myself. Um, I'm always saying, me, oh me, look at me.
mm-hmm,
I kept feeling sorry for myself, and and I can walk, right? And so
mm-hmm.
when I saw them on a wheelchair, and they're not able to walk. Most of them are using the electric chair and the electric wheelchair, and they're never gonna get out of it, right? They're stuck in the
Mm.
wheelchair. Me, I can walk, I can go places, I can do things. Even though with one hand, I can still do things. So I saw them as my inspiration. Them sitting in a wheelchair and still able to laugh about it and still able to have fun and not looking like they depressed. And they just the love, just like the happiness, they affect me so much. Like I can laugh with
Yeah.
them, like I can
Yeah.
literally laughing with them, and they don't care about what is going to happen tomorrow. They care about what
Wow.
happening today. And I was in on the court, and I was on the court. We happy together at that moment. They care about their moment. They didn't care about what happening tomorrow. They care about
Yeah.
what happened on that court, and they were happy doing so. And so they affected me so much. As I remember that scene as me playing basketball with these kids, and because obviously I was older than they are, I was 15 playing with these little kids, and I was so happy doing it, and seeing them happy. And so that from that day on, I said to myself, I want to become something to help
Mhm.
others. And that's why I don't know how it's going to come about at that time, but I was going
Yeah.
to see what I can do. Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful. So I like gleaned two things from that is that the children at the
Hmm.
hospital inspired you um
Hmm.
because of how they lived. Some were facing, like you said, situations that they weren't going to get out of. Like they needed a
Hmm.
miracle. Like you said, children who
Yeah.
weren't gonna walk, but you could at least
Hmm.
walk. Yet they lived joyfully. They were having fun, and they just enjoyed that day, and you said they weren't worried about tomorrow. And I just take that
Hmm.
as a lesson for all of us of whatever we're facing, living in today. It's not that, especially for us as
Hmm.
adults, we don't think about the future, plan for the
Yeah.
future, but it's really
Hmm.
enjoying that moment. But the second part is you said they kind of gave you your sense of purpose. You didn't know how it was going to
Hmm.
manifest, but you knew you were going to
Hmm.
serve and help people who had some type of medical need, but in some way you had that desire and that love was kind of planted
Hmm.
um, at a young age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So it is true that sense of purpose that helped me get through. Me having purpose get me through some, those nights where I'm worried about the future,
Mm,
and I pray about it. I pray to God what is going to, God help me figure out what I'm going to do, because I was 15. I
mm-hmm,
wasn't getting any younger. So what is going to happen, right? So I pray
mm-hmm,
about it. But as I watch those kids,
mm-hmm,
I just assume, I just immediately, it's like God sent me a sign saying
mm-hmm.
everything will be okay.
All right. So you said you were feeling a little anxious, partly because you didn't know about your future, where you're going to go next. Now you don't have your arm and you're learning to use your new arm and you're getting older. So where are you going to go? What's life going to look like for you? So where do you go next now that you're in the US? Do you end up going back to Ghana? Do you stay with Rebecca? Do you remain at Shriners Hospital? What answer came to those questions that you had about your future and your next step?
So it came time where I have to leave the hospital, um, and also my visa was coming to the point where it's almost expired, because I'm only here for a visiting visa, visiting or a medical visa. So there was a lady named Auntie Mary, that I met for the second time that I was, no, I'm sorry, the first time that I was here. I met her through somebody else, and she lived in North Jersey, and she says to me, "Come visit us, come stay with us for the summer before you go
Mm-hmm.
back to Ghana." And so I went to North Jersey, and and I went to stay with her as a host family. She hosted me, and she became like, of course, I met and I loved, the kids became her kids became like my brothers, and we did everything together. We played basketball together. We did all kinds of stuff. And Auntie Mary, one thing about Auntie Mary is she's blind. She can't see anything,
Mm-hmm.
and she hosts and she hosts little babies. So she doesn't host like a doll like me. She takes in babies and she
Mm,
hosts them. She's like a host for the little babies.
mhm.
And as a blind woman, she was able to take care of these children and her own children. And so I
Wow.
went to stay with her. She has four boys. No, five boys. One died with a heart defect. Anyway, so the brothers, I became friends with them, and we. So while I was there, she sent me to school, Holy Trinity School. And so while I was there, I was going to school to learn the English, to learn how to speak, and to so it was not your regular homework, doing homework. So when she sent me to school, it was just to sit in, to listen to what they're saying, not to write or to do anything, but to just listen.
Yeah.
So hear me like almost 16 years old, and they put me in this these little kids, middle
Yeah.
whatever, babies, pretty much. So they put me right in. They give me this big desk, and every morning these kids will come in one by one. They will come in, and they like the forming line. They will come in, and then here I'll be sitting at the by the door with my big desk, and
Mm.
the teacher the teacher always says to the children, who will help Isaac today? Always so many hands will go up to help me. So one person only always come in and
Mhm.
help me. Yeah.
Um, and so I was gonna say about um, how old were you at that time?
Still 15. I was going into 16.
Okay, and what grade or about the age did they put you in? Because you said they were little kids.
Seventh grade, like middle, seventh grade, eighth grade,
Uh, okay, so like middle school age, and then you're more
middle
like
school
high
age.
school age.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'd put you in there just to immerse you in the language. Because at that time, did you read or write in English?
No. So that's where the kids came in. They were teaching me the alphabet, how to write my name, how to say the alphabets. ABC or but these kids already advanced. They already know where they already passed all that. But they just showing me from the
Right.
beginning.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, one of the reasons they're putting you in there is because you're starting a whole new language.
Yes.
And something that people may not realize, it's very similar to learning your first language, especially with
Mhm.
reading and writing. It has to be taught. You're learning your alphabet just the same. So, although you're 15, the language part, you're starting it over right away in the beginning.
Mhm.
And so, how did you feel being in with the younger students? Did you feel embarrassed at all, or did you enjoy it? Like, how did it feel
Uh,
being there and having to start again with the learning?
Um, at first, I did. It was a little embarrassing because I was way too older than all of them.
Mm.
So, and then as the months went by or the weeks go by, I was able to be more comfortable. I was able to make more friends. They made me feel welcome. They didn't make me
Yeah.
feel like I didn't belong there. They didn't look
Yeah.
at me weird. They didn't look at me weird. They just look at me with the excitement. And
Yeah.
also, how kids are. They were also curious. They also were
Yes.
curious, and so they were so kind to me, and it's just funny that they are just literally all the hands goes up every time the teacher asks who will help
Yeah.
him. They were so enthusiastic
Yeah.
in helping me. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I can definitely make a connection with that. And for those listening, who are like, why was he put in there? When especially like international children come over, and there's a hosting family or an adopted family,
Mm-hmm.
they're just not sure where to
Mm-hmm.
put them,
Yeah.
because it's not really so much developmental, because as what you've talked about, you face things that the children at that school can't even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
You've gone through, had to make decisions that adults would struggle to make. You've experienced loss. So emotionally, there's a maturity, there's a strength and power, but it's really just learning a whole new culture. Just
Mm-hmm.
simple things like we said, the weather and how to dress for the weather and the changing seasons that we don't experience much of. We go through our rainy, there's a little cool
Mm-hmm.
season, but we're not going through huge changes um, in our climate. And then the language, learning, even though you're grown up, you still are learning the alphabet. Like you said, you
Mm-hmm.
learned basic words of open and close, single words, as anybody learning a
Mm-hmm.
language would.
Mm-hmm.
And I just made a connection to mine when I first came to the States. My mom had me in preschool and I had turned 7, so the children are like 3, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing dolls with them, and they're 3-year olds. They're most of them are potty trained, but they're still like, wait, this, and I don't need that
Mm-hmm.
kind of help. But I'm learning alphabet too, and letter sounds. So
Mm-hmm.
education wise in English, you know um that was helpful until we could get a better placement. But that's
Mm-hmm.
really common and happens when there's a language part of it too, um, and in the education learning. So I just made a connection with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And also one thing is, can you just picture a little kid sitting on my desk trying to
Right.
point, showing me uh
Listen.
15 year old
Right.
15-year-old the alphabets. I mean, that's the smartest
Yeah.
kid, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's like they already passed all that. Like I said, they already know the English. They already know
Yeah, yeah.
what the ABCs are. But they took the time to sit doing it with a joyful in their faces.
Yeah.
They were so happy. Every morning they're so happy to see me. They always say hi, Isaac. Every one of them
Oh.
coming through. They're like hi,
Yeah.
Isaac, and we always go
Sweet.
outside. We play. Yeah, we play outside the basketball courts, and I'm the tallest person in the basketball court. They sit on the swing. I push them on the swing, and they just love that
Oh.
stuff. Like I became like the big brother to them. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
was nice.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like having a big brother. And just from being the youngest in my family, on both sides, biological side, adopted side, I'm the baby in on both sides of the family. Um, you look up to your older sibling, and for him to
Mm-hmm.
pay you attention, like for my big brother to sit down and do something with me was like, okay, like,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
I can just think back to that age when you get
Mm-hmm.
attention from an older child. It just makes you feel cool too. And so the fact that
Mm-hmm.
you played with them too, did basketball, pushing them on swings, um, just boosted their confidence while they're also
Mm-hmm.
boosting your confidence. And I love that. It's a
Yeah,
give and take,
yeah, yeah,
um
yeah. That was
yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
So you're at the school, and you're living with Miss Mary, you said.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
what happens next? Does that become your permanent home? um
So what happened was here comes the visa issue again. So the visa was toward the end, almost coming to the end, you know. So now we face another question. It's time for me to return to Ghana, like the first time. Now the second and third time, and this time I don't know where I was gonna go. I have no idea. So here's a backstory. In the meantime, everybody was praying. Rebecca was praying back in the state. Rebecca is back in the state this time. She already back in
Okay.
Ghana. And I was coming here. I was just here to get staying on Timeri to get more
Yeah.
recuperation from the surgery. So they were praying. So in the meantime, we were wondering how all this is gonna work.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, one day I came home and Timmy sat me down. She's like, Isaac, I get a phone call today from South Jersey. And I said, what? She said,
Mm.
yeah. They said, there's a couple who wants to meet you. I said, really? Word for what? You know? They said, I don't know. I have no idea. They just called me. They said they'll be coming in Thursday to come see you. I said, oh, okay. So she said, don't go to school that day. You know, you're going to stay home. And I said, okay. So Thursday came around. I saw the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and see these two couples standing there. I opened the door and here one short lady and one
Mm.
tall man standing there.
Uh,
The lady was smiling ear to ear. She was smiling ear to ear. And I said, come in. They introduced themselves. They're like, this, I'm Chuck. And she said, this is Dawn, Chuck and Dawn. And I said, oh, come on in. This time I can read a little English. I said, come in,
yeah.
please, come in. So I invited them in. They sat down. Auntie Mary sat down with them. And they're like, the reason I'm here is we're gonna invite you to come to South Jersey. We want to show you around. We want to go take you to Sight and Sound for the weekend. I said, okay, but I didn't know what the plan was. So this point, my visa was pretty much expired. So I was saying my goodbyes to the students. So everybody was sad that it's come that time for me to return to Ghana.
Yeah.
I was scared for my life. I was scared that I was going to go back there to nothing, you know. So so Auntie Mary said. So anyway, so the couple they came in. They're like, okay, we're gonna come. We're gonna take you to go show you good time for the weekend. I said okay. So they took me away Thursday. I went. I left with them that day, and on the ride home, they were trying to talk to me, but the English was like a little difficult.
Yeah.
But I can respond to certain things, but it's also
Mm.
frustrating because I really want to talk to them because I start to like them already, even though
Yeah.
it's like somebody you just met, but
Yeah.
you feel like you feel like you know them all your life.
Mm.
That's how much they made me feel when I was riding
Mm.
with them.
Yeah.
They didn't
Love
make me
that.
feel uncomfortable. They made me
Yeah.
feel welcome. So
Mm.
I came home. So they brought me home that weekend, and we went to Sight and Sound. We went to Pennsylvania. We saw a play. We ate plenty of food there. Anyway, so we came home that night. That night, and it was the weekend. So that Monday, I'm supposed to return to North Jersey to get ready to leave. But they told me, do you mind, we told Tamara you want to stay another night, right? So obviously
Yeah.
they called Tamara and say she's staying for another night. So that night, they sat me down that night, and my mom says to me, Dawn, that time, says to me, what kind of food um, what's your favorite food? So I told him, of course, rice and bean, rice and bean, whatever. That's something like rice and beans and chicken, whatever. So my mom made me my favorite meal. And that night they sat me down and we prayed. My dad was a pastor that no was yeah, my dad was a pastor that time. And we prayed and she says to me, uh, before that, so they pray. After they pray, they say to me, um, my mom says to me, "Welcome home, right? Welcome home." I said,
Mhm.
"We're already home, right? I'm already home." They're like,
Yeah.
"Welcome home," and I said, "Okay." She's
Mm.
like, "The reason we say that is, do you feel like what do you feel if we said to you to stay here permanently? What make you feel if you want you to stay here permanently with us?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, okay." I said, host family situation, like another host family situation. That's what I said.
Yeah.
You want me to stay here for a couple more, months before I go return to Ghana? They're like, no, 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 no. We want you to stay here permanently with us. So that's what they said to me. Welcome home. This is your home. And how do you feel about that? And I just sighed. And I said to
Mm.
them, they're like, now that you feel like we want you to stay here, what will you call us? And I said, well, I guess you're gonna become my mom and my dad. And my mom immediately got off the table, get off the chair, hugged
Oh.
me with a tear, crying.
Oh.
And
Beautiful.
because my mom didn't have any children, right?
Mhm.
My mom didn't have any children. My dad's side does, and so she was crying with happiness. And
Mm.
she walked me to my bedroom, and she showed me, this is your room. And I just turned and looked at them and said, and they said like, welcome home. This is your home now, and this is your room. And from that point on, I just teared up that um, the battles that I've been through, all the
Mm.
sadness and all the depression, everything was just lifted. And God was right there giving me another lifeline that I needed it the most. I'm thinking I
Mm.
was going to go back to Ghana, but whoever say a prayer for me, you know, is yeah. It was perfect, and so my life. So anyway, that point on, the welcome home stuck in my head
Mm.
that I got another lifeline, and it was just amazing,
Mm.
for me.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow. That's beautiful. Well, I want to just
yeah.
ask, when you heard those two words, welcome home,
hmm
how did it feel? Especially in knowing that most of your childhood had been in the hospital, and you left your home and you'd been growing up in the hospital. So,
hmm
what did it feel like to hear those words? And what did it mean to you?
Well, it meant for me that I finally made it to because the hope that I was praying for. Before I didn't have any hope. Before I was in the dark. Before I didn't know what was going on. Now there's a little light shine. The little light shine on my path, and that light was pretty much God giving me that hope and giving me um, that time, my mom and dad, my future mom and dad, not yet. We have to go through. There's another story with that, but um, it was just surreal. going back to your answer, it was a surreal thing that I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming because um, all I was thinking is I'm gonna go back
Yeah.
and not know where I was gonna go. It was gonna happen to me. But all of a sudden, all that changed with the two
Mhm.
word "welcome home." All that
Yeah.
changed, and so I did not. So weird to me. I was like,
Mhm.
man, I was in a dream that somebody needed to pinch me, but
Yeah.
it
Oh.
was real. It was real that I finally got the family that I didn't think of. I didn't
Yeah.
think that I didn't think that they and he didn't just God did not just give me a family. He gave me a pastor and a pastor's
Yeah.
wife, right?
Yeah.
So I did not.
Beautiful.
It's not just anybody. It's just not
Yeah.
just anybody. It was just somebody that that is going to point me to the right direction, and that's my mom
Yes.
and dad, my
Mm.
future mom and dad. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it maybe it's happy. Yeah.
And I was just gonna go to how you felt when you saw your bedroom. Um, and they showed you your own room. Again, for me, it's like the contrast of um, growing up again. Most of your childhood, you said you were between
Mm-hmm.
what 10, around
Mm-hmm.
10 with your diagnosis, and then going into the hospital, being
Yeah.
left there. And then
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until, how old are you? About 16 when you're
16. Yeah. The
with the
Burtons.
Burtons?
16.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all that time in
Mm-hmm.
between, you've been in the hospital.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's almost
Yeah.
10 years.
It was surreal. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's where what we said 10 years of my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole time I did not I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Every day was hope,
Mm.
hope, hope. I'm
Yeah.
hoping for
Yeah.
something to change in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was it like when you saw your bedroom and she said, now you have a bedroom from being in the hospital?
When I saw my bed, my own bed, because
Yeah.
back in Ghana, we share a lot of stuff back in Ghana.
Tell us about it.
So okay, yeah. We share a lot of stuff. So
Yeah. Yep.
when I saw my own bed,
Mm.
when I saw my own bed, I was like, you know, this is just too much, God. God, all I can say, God, you are do yourself. Like it's like prayer answered with with more. And so when I hear my two lovely my future mom and dad, it was like when she said, "This is your room," and so that means when she said those two words, that means to me that I'm not going back. This is it. It
Mm.
just, it just, it just finalized. This is where the road end. It's like somebody showing you this is where the road end for you. The road The road has ended for you. This is it. All your battles, all your all your worries, the road ended for you. This is your room. You see, there's no other place to go but to your room. You're not going back. You're going to your room. This is your room. And so that means my journey ended when my mom
Yep.
said, "This is your room." And of course, that's the beginning of my journey, as you know.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So I guess an end to that chapter, an end to
Mm-hmm.
that struggle. And so I guess what you were facing was one with your health, what was going to happen with your arm, not getting better, to finally them saying, okay, we can fix this, but
Mhm.
this part has to go in order for us to start the
Mhm.
healing process.
Mhm.
But the second question you were
Mhm.
facing was just displacement. You're not in your
Mhm.
family's house anymore, you're at the hospital.
Mhm.
Now you're in the US. You're getting healed and learning with your
Yeah.
new arm where you're gonna live.
Mhm.
And so that whole journey, it was just like now you can rest and begin a new chapter. And I
Yeah.
think of just children who are displaced for whatever reason, whether it's
Mhm.
due to health or abandonment or losing of parents. Uh, it's it's definitely a struggle,
Mhm.
and that was even for me, that was the weariness of it. When I shared my story, I said it was the game hot
Mhm.
potato,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, where it's like you're getting passed around. And that was
Mhm.
more mine. I didn't just stay in one place, but it was a lot of passing through the hands, within
Mhm.
family. And children here in the US and in other areas, they're passed through different homes. Through the system, living
Mhm.
with this foster, that foster, and it's a weariness, because you have no place to lay your head and call it home. And so the
Mhm.
weighty question on you is always like, where am I going to go? Where am I going to
Yeah.
live? And so just stability, um, is just does wonders for the mind. And so that's for me
Mhm.
why I'm so for just having permanent homes, um,
Mhm.
and not having the passing around as much, because it's a weary journey until you're like,
Mhm.
okay, this is where I can lay my head and call home.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, well, two final questions, but one
Sure.
final question on what we've been talking about today. So is there one or two, but we'll say one takeaway that you want um those listening, our listeners, to take from your story or journey that they could use to encourage them? They may not be facing a life or death illness or having to make a decision of keeping my arm or not,
Mhm.
or facing language barriers, but we all go through challenges. Everyone's looks different, but at some point you're going to face
Mhm.
challenge. So, what would be one takeaway or one advice, I guess, that you would give to those listening that you've learned in your road, in your journey?
Well, in my my journey and slash obstacles, I always always look for the positive in everything. Other people have issues. Everybody have their own issues, but in my journey, it was about it was just tough at first, but the more I came to know Christ, the better it got. That's how I felt. The more I have more people, God gave me so many other people around me. Not everybody who gets what I did, what people, not everybody who gets help from other people and stuff like that. But at the same time, pray. I would say prayer works. My advice is prayer works. Because when you pray, the answers might not come immediately. The answers might not come immediately, but God is always working on it. So, for my favorite thing is my favorite verse in the Bible is Jeremiah 29:11, where I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, the plans to help you, not prosper you, not to harm you. I'm saying it wrong, but that's my favorite verse is that. But truthfully, if we are, in my case, when obstacle present itself, you always have to look for the positive in everything. But my positives are, I have people around me. I never gave up hope. Never give up hope. Always striving that you can do it. You cannot. You can do it. Everybody can do everything. Like those little kids in Shronus with the happiness and everything, they can do it. So do you. Can so do you. If they can smile about it, so can you. Yes, it is tough. It is tough. Life is not easy. Life doesn't present itself. Life is always tough. But the ability for us, we always have a way out. There's always a way out if we seek it. And that is always do not give up. Always seek the help from people or help from, if whatever your religion is, you pray, you do your praying, and you pray that God will come through for you. And He's always can. He's always will. Yeah.
All said. Well, thank you so much for that.
Mm-hmm.
And just so much that I gleaned from what you had to say. And I just want to thank you for your courage. I want to thank you for your endurance, your perseverance, your persistence, and then above all, just your kind and loving heart. Um, and it's to not get emotional, but you are very loving um, and humble towards people. And it's like God chooses people for a purpose. And I just believe that He has you, and not because you're any above anyone else, but He has you in such a place and in such a time as this, and to have been brought over to live with that family because of how loving you are and how humble you are in every situation that you faced at the hospital, being at Shriners Hospital, engaging and playing with the children there, kind of starting over in your education at the school and your humility, but your love also, playing with the children there, helping them on the swings, in every situation, just such gratitude, such humility, and love for every person that God brought your way. Is just beautiful and powerful. And I thank you for those gems that you gave of that we can do it. Um, and that you also said about the power of prayer. So
Prayer.
thank you so much. You
Thank you.
inspire me, and
Thank
you
you.
motivate me. And, many of the other children that have come here also face different situations. And they also gave me motivation. Even in my high school, my discouragement time, just seeing you guys, the older children had come from Ghana, just pushing forward in spite of their challenges. I was like, all right, I gotta go because they're going. You, Mariama,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
facing really difficult
Yep. Even
situations,
Daniel.
and Daniel, and just pushing past. I was like, all right, well, I gotta go because um, my brothers and sisters are running, and they're not letting anything hold them back. Um, so before we close, I just want to
Okay.
ask you a more lighthearted question. So, what's something fun or interesting about you that most people do not know?
Well, I like to be I like to go bowling. I'm in bowling league. I bowl every Wednesday. I've been
Oh,
bowling with
cool.
my family, my mom and dad for
Mm-hmm.
22 years. My mom and dad.
Oh, wow.
Before God bless them, they fortunate they're with the Lord now. Um, but
Mm,
we bowled for 22 years, and
wow.
and And so after they passed away, I still I still bowling. I'm still to join the league, see if they are there. So we are. So I have a bowling family. They are my family, and so every Wednesday I look forward in bowling with my bowling family slash friends. So we have a lot of fun doing it, and I also like to do photography because I believe God's creation, and a lot of people need to see God's creation the way how colorful they are. So I take a lot of pictures, and I try to show people um, how the wonders of God. So I like to take
Wow.
pictures. I like to go to nature and take pictures. Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
that's what I like to do.
Wow. That's so cool. I love that you still continue to bowl and just kind of keeping your legacy with your parents, your relationship with them going, and the photography. Wow, your photographs are beautiful. And there'll be a link for that for people to view his website and some of his work. It's incredible. It looks straight out of a magazine and definitely talented in that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining and just sharing your story. It's
Thank
incredible
you.
and amazing, inspiring, and it just gives us no excuse. You can say, if he can do it, then I can do it. And
I
that's what
can
each
do
of
it.
these stories are, to motivate you, to help get you out of bed. That whatever you're facing, like you said, we can do it. And just as you thought of the children at the hospital, at Shriners Hospital, shout out to Shriners Hospital. But we can think
Mm-hmm.
of
Thank
people
God.
like you and others who just inspire us
Mhm.
to keep moving forward. And
Absolutely.
as always, before we close, just remind you that you are chosen and that God has chosen you for a purpose, and there's a reason for you here, and God's going to fulfill good things in and through your life. Be blessed till next time.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Have a good night. Thank you.